True, and I'm like, now moving on to your management.
Mm-hmm.
You signed up a Kaka
Yes, management.
TPG that
Yeah.
became Kaka.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me how is it like being signed up a management?
It's not a label. I am signed in management. Yes, I'm an independent artist. I'm an indie artist. That means I cater for my everything. I'm basically my executive producer when it comes to my music, when it comes to my videos and such. But I am managed by Dennis of Kaka Empire. So it's definitely good to always have a team because you get a little bit more done than if you would have been by yourself. Because if you're recording, then that means there's someone else catering to the business. If you're catering to the business, there's someone else who's catering for this and that and this and that. So things get and proceed a little bit faster, especially if you are also a business-minded person or you're a career-oriented person. So it kind of becomes like what would you call it? It becomes like a double impact because you know where you're going, you have a focus, and you know exactly where you're going, and you have someone who's at least good on execution. So yeah, the two go very well in hand. At least you focus on other things, and your mind is not really cluttered. That you're thinking, oh guys, I have to go for this meeting, I have to call this person, I have to confirm this show, I have to make sure my diary is like this. There's some things you live and end up forgetting. Yeah.
True, I think for the music video, are you still going to produce an album? I'm going to keep on asking.
Who knows? So far I have, I think, enough songs to compile into an album. So maybe I'll do that. I'll just put all those songs and put them in an album. I'm not really a fan of albums because at the end of the day, for me personally, especially my genre of music, so far it does not, the turnover is not really as impressive, but I can definitely compile everything into one thing. But so far you can get my music on iTunes, you can get my music on Mdundo, you can get my music on Muziki app. So yeah, they can still get my music from anywhere and everywhere. Exactly. So the downloading, you can download from Mdundo. Mdundo is actually free. If you want to download it for free, you can download it for free. If you want a higher quality of the music, you can definitely pay something a little bit extra to get a higher quality. That's usually usually DJs are the ones who usually go for higher quality. But of course I have a working relationship with very many DJs around Kenya, so usually they come to me and I give them master copies of the music. But yeah, when it comes to iTunes as well, for iOS users, you can download my music from the iTunes store. Just search for Avril and you'll see my music there.
And for you, like performing live in the studio, which one do you prefer?
It really depends on what I'm working on. Sometimes you're in the studio, you're bored because you don't really like what's going on. You don't like the interpretation that the producer has. So sometimes it becomes unnerving. But sometimes you're really into the vibe, you're into the whole studio vibe. The times I am really into a studio vibe and I record and record and record and record. And there are times I'm really not in the mood to be in the studio. People ask me for drops, I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to go to the studio. But okay, fine. Then being on stage as well, also it depends on the hype of the event. It depends on how would I call it, accommodating? Yes, how accommodating the promoters were for you to be able to execute a fantastic show. Because there's some promoters who just want to frustrate you. You're asking for this, they don't want to give you this. You're asking for simple stage. You want to at least have a couple of dancers. They give you a stage where you can only stand like this and sing. You see, that becomes a little bit frustrating. So it always depends on a few elements here and there. There's some stages you look at and you're like, wow, I can't wait to get on that stage and just kill it.
In stages, for you, which kind of dance moves
It depends. If I have my dancers, black blingers, we have choreography. We actually have choreographed dances that we do for my songs. So that one is usually choreographed. Then the times that I'm alone on stage, so I just go and have a good time. Yeah.
How would you describe yourself? Because I've seen you like you're such a versatile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How would you describe yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like the sound,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm. I I do have a versatility in my music, and when I'm asked what kind of music I do, I say contemporary urban. The reason why I say contemporary, because it can switch from place to place, and it's an urban kind of sound, because I incorporate different languages, which is Swahili and English, primarily Swahili and English, and urban because I also include a Western feel to an African feel. What I'm usually most comfortable in, I feel, is R&B, because that is actually what I wanted to do initially. I just wanted to be an R&B artist. Nitaimba R&B. And that's the reason why Hakuna Yule, to date, people still go back to Hakuna Yule, because they're like, you just, you felt like you were really easy. You were just having a good time. And yes, I was having a good time because I felt like I was in my space. Even when we were doing Coke Studio, one of the best songs that I gave was Kitu Kimoja and One Naira, the collaboration. And the reason why that came out so well, again, is because I was in my comfort space. I was in a fantastic space. I was singing Kitu Kimoja the way I wrote it. Yeah. So yeah, I think R&B is my place of, comfort. But I like challenging myself once in a while. Hence the reason why I did a song with Sumila. People weren't expecting me to sing on that BPM, because it was, it was really a rushy song. People weren't expecting me to do Yule Dame because it's an Afro kind of beat. People weren't expecting me to do Najivunia with Trapi because it's, it has those nice heavy African beats. Yeah, so I just challenge myself, and I do this and I do that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I always refer to how we were 10 years ago to date. I feel we've grown as an industry. First and foremost, the number of artists who are embracing the Kenyan music scene, there become so many. That is definitely a plus, because the more you have artists, the more you have content as an industry. Two, I feel like the sounds have become very experimental right now. Long time ago, you wouldn't have an artist like Calligraph Jones. Guys are like, I own him Kenya, I'm in America. They're like, yo, I'm from Kayole, but I'm gonna rap like I'm from the United States of America. So you're like, yeah, yes, with this, and you see there's a market for that. The people who are waiting for that, and the people who are waiting for that were probably fans of Prezzo at some point, and they were like, they were really up for that lifestyle thing. And then Calligraph Jones comes and kills it with a different kind of music. You wouldn't have artists like who else? You didn't have artists like Nyashinsky experimenting from what they were doing back in the day to what they're doing right now. So it's really grown in terms of experimentability, if that's a word. In terms of experimentation is the word. In terms of experimenting and doing all these things, I feel like we have grown as an industry. We're challenging ourselves a little bit more, because as a society, we're very conservative. Kenyans will be behind closed doors doing things, but when they open the door, like, me, how, who, we? So that conservativeness also comes to music, because guys are like, do I really want to go that way, or do I just want to be comfortable with what people usually listen to? Hence the reason why you've seen even an evolution of Kapuka, with the Christophs and music coming from Naiboy, and music coming from Pacho, and music coming from Grandpa as well. It's Kapuka, but it has a little evolution to it. So people are experimenting a little bit more. Of course, for me, I always encourage even newer producers to come into the game. New producers give us different sounds, things like what Everlast has done. You see, that's a completely different Wabe. What Wabe is exactly what Frasha and Gabu did. Different music, different sounds, and you go like, wow, okay, yes, we do need to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah. That is difficult for me, because I listen to everyone. Wow, what am I listening to right now? I'm listening to a lot of coastal music right now, actually. I'm listening to a lot of Susumilas. I'm listening to a lot of music down from the coast, because they've always had that different sound to them. There's an artist I actually listened to just the other day. I can't remember his name, but he's a young upcoming artist, and he sounded very Arabic, and I was like, wow, this is refreshing. So yeah, I think I'm listening to a lot of music coming from Mombasa as per now, and of course the urban scene in Nairobi, Everlast. Yeah, that's what I'm listening to right now.
It's so Rayvani like singing a song.
Yeah. Did you see that? You saw that?
Something going
Me, I was sitting in the crowd, by the way. I was just sitting in the crowd. I went to Mombasa with a couple of my friends, and at that time, the same time, it so happened that Rayvani and WCB Wasafi had a small concert in Mombasa, and we were like, "Hey, let's go. Let's just go and see what these guys are all about." And yeah, and he was the first act on stage, and followed now by Harmonize, and then later on Rich Mavoko. So when he gets on stage, he looks straight into VIP. He's like, "Yo, I know this chick." Because I was on my phone. I'm like, I'm there tweeting. I was live tweeting. I was Instagramming. Then mdogo mdogo nasikia jina langu. I'm like, who's that? I look on stage like, Avril. Nashukuru sana kuja. I'm like, what? So the fans now go like, go on stage, go on stage. I went on stage and he did his fantastic a cappella. A bit naughty, but it was good.
You never like seduced in that kind of way with that moment or something.
Was I seduced? Really? Really? Really?